Hi girlies, welcome back. Today I am telling you all about my visit to the Azzedine Alaïa Thierry Mugler exhibit at the Alaïa Foundation in Paris. This museum was a must-see for me because I am an Alaïa stan, and I have been ever since I saw his designs in Clueless, Living Single, and The Nanny when I was a kid. That alone prompted many of fashion show rewatches and my lifelong obsession with his pieces. The theme of this exhibit was collaboration and friendship because, funnily enough, both Mugler and Alaïa found friendship in one another. And I say this is funny because the fashion industry can be quite a competitive and isolating industry, especially in the 90s when Alaïa and Mugler were coming up. Both designers uplifted each other, collaborated with each other, consulted with each other, and even sewed by hand each other's pieces when they needed assistance during crunch times. Mugler was so enraptured and proud of Alaïa's work that he wrote to Bergdorf insisting that they carry Alaïa's pieces. And so the following season, Bergdorf put together a salon-style show in which they debuted and committed to carrying Alaïa's pieces. Without Mugler, we would not have Alaïa in the US during the 90s, so soon at least. And that spirit of collaboration and friendliness extended to all. Alaïa was said to have never met a stranger. Most nights, he invited everyone to dinner on the third floor of his studio, from the designers to the sewists to the models and even the dog walkers. Everyone was welcome. Now that is true community. But the piece de résistance of this exhibit was the fact that I got to see Alaïa's couturier studio, where he worked from dawn to dusk every single day. When Alaïa passed in 2017, his studio was sealed off and essentially frozen in time. For a designer in training like me, getting to see the space felt like a peek into his mind, and it almost felt invasive in that it was such a private, sacred space. You could still see Alaïa's cardigan draped off the back of his desk chair, his scraps of paper and rough sketches on his work tables, patterns and buttons strewn about. For a student like myself, it's so inspiring and familiar to see the mess of the behind the scenes of design mirror and reflect my own. I cannot say more about this exhibit. Okay guys, today we are at the Azzedine Alaïa and Thierry Mugler exhibit. Alaïa is my absolute favorite designer. It's an Alaïa, just like Clueless, and it's just really inspiring stepping in these same footsteps and seeing the studio frozen in time. It's a little bit chilling, but to see them in their workspace, to hear more about his work ethic, working all the way until dawn every single night, like to hear Alaïa's passion about their work is just so inspiring, and every single piece is amazingly detailed. But like, the attention to the female form is what we love about both of these designers, and the attention to archiving their pieces and finding friends in fashion, people who care as much about your piece as you do, is key, and it's just beautiful. I'm not gonna say inspiring again, but it's beautiful, and we're having a great time. Are you happy to be in Paris? Hi dolls, we've arrived at the Palace of Versailles. Oh my god, it's beautiful, and you know the outfit eats. We're gonna go explore. Oh God, it's beautiful. You're so beautiful. Bye-bye. Oh, Lord. Whoa. That was so elegant. It's so peaceful here. I could live here forever. Look at this beautiful chateau. I wish you guys could smell the honeysuckle. It's heavenly. Oh my goodness. It's beautiful. And this is where we're going to lunch. A lunch. I don't know how to say lunch in French yet, but I know in Spanish. We're gonna go sit in this little garden and have a tasty little Italian snack to recharge us after a long day. Oh, do you smell that? Oh my God. Oh. Welcome to the Musée des Arts Décoratifs. This was a really cool museum featuring furniture and architecture from the 80s to the early 2000s. Say hi, Rosie. My research paper was on the intersection of fashion and architecture, specifically how these two seemingly separate industries impact and influence each other. So I was very excited for this museum. We got to see really cool exhibits. For example, this apartment crafted and curated for Lanvin, the House of Lanvin. So you really got to see how fashion and interior design interact with each other and inspire each other. We also got to see some modern artists where their focus was really on the artistry, and then that intertwined with the interior design. Not necessarily for furniture designers, but they became furniture designers in their creative endeavor. I was also especially interested in these pieces, which are called art nigre. Yes, that's exactly what it means. From the 1930s, which displays the intersection of Black and Japanese art in France.
With Dome, which is a very important glass manufacturer. So they are working here. You have like a horn here. It's work like the craftsmen at the time. And this is like a flat glass, which is considered like industrial glass. And so between these two ways that we are working the same material, you have two words. You have two words of industrial and creation, about artist and non-artistic and everything. And so we decided to combine both like this. And this is a very iconic also pieces for this, and to talk about also the different way to work the object and the borders. The kind of seat that you have here, this is the European seat, is it's synonym for her about the colonialism of the English people in India, because in India, people in the house have more this kind of seat, and this is like the throne of the European. And so she's combining also here an encounters of different cultures with the history of India. And so she's making a throne, something very elegant, with the culture, with a mix also with rich and poor, talking about colonialism. So this chair is talking about a lot of things with the story of India and the way she she wanted to talk about this. So every furniture from here has a story and a link to different culture and how the designer are using their culture to play also with this. It's called rêve et fantaisie, which is dream and fantasy. And you can see the influence of Bach. A cupboard from 25, exactly the same shape but with different material. This is very like an influence of the streamline of Art Deco also. It's from the 80s, just over here. You have this ghost mirror. So we were talking about design which is not functional. This one is an example because you cannot see your reflection in the mirror. This is why it's called ghost mirror. This is like a sculptor because he is working metal, so he is a real craftsman, he is a real artist, he's making some animal sculpture. But these are functional sculptures. So he is a designer, but he is an artist also. Linked to the design of the 80s also. Geometrical forms, but with color, with like furniture that became some architecture like this. Very important. This is a library, you have LED. So it's really like a fun design, design for happy life. This is so 80s.
Although the focus of this study abroad trip was mostly research, as a fashion design student, I did want to take some time to design and create in one of the fashion capitals of the world. So I thrifted a really cool jersey, funnily enough, from Brooklyn while I was in Paris. Brooklyn girl all around the world, Brooklyn worldwide. I thrifted this really cool jersey and I decided I wanted to make like a really cutesy sporty style swimsuit out of it. So I prepped my patterns. I am using a mood pattern as well as a sparrow pattern. I'll link both down below. They're both free and available. And I took my patterns and my fabric and I went to this really cool workshop called Ateliers by the Way. It is a pay-per-hour space where creators and sewists can come and use machines. It was something like 7 or maybe 10 euros an hour, which is a steal, and I had everything here that I needed. Scissors, pattern paper, she even had fabric and trim if you didn't have your own. She had buttons, she had all types of different machines and different capacities. She had sergers, she just had everything you needed. And the space was just so kitschy and cozy. The woman who runs this said she has lived here for the past 7 years. She lives in the upstairs space and then she holds classes and she does studio work in the downstairs space. And I just thought that was so cool. Literally my dream job. It was just so cozy in there. And you can see me now just making a little cup of tea. Like when I tell you cozy vibes, like cozy vibes, I was so relaxed and I was just like, oh my God, I am in Paris living my dream life. Like, you know, when you have those moments where you're like, this is where I'm supposed to be, you know? So here I am prepping my pattern and then I hopped on the machine and I got to sewing. I'm really proud of myself for sourcing the fabric, printing the pattern, prepping, and actually getting to sewing in the moment, because I have a tendency to buy fabrics and tuck them away for a really cool project and then not come back to the project for like several months. So I literally went thrifting like that Saturday or Sunday, and then I turned around that Monday and got to sewing, like upcycling. So I'm really proud of myself for starting, but I'm gonna be real with you guys, I have not finished this project yet. I started with the bottoms, which you will see at the end of this clip, but I'm still working on the top, so there'll definitely be updates to come. But I just wanted to share with you guys this really cool space. For those of you that live in New York, there are also sewing centers like this in New York where you can rent a sewing machine and use a sewing space for $10 an hour. There's one in Brooklyn and there's one in Manhattan. Okay, baddies, it's back to studying. So on this day, we got to visit the Desjourney showroom. Desjourney is a global brand focused on interior design, specifically wallpapers. They hand draw and hand paint all of these designs you're seeing on the wall and outfitted in this townhouse here. Their showroom space is where their main team resides and draws all these beautiful pieces, but it is also a sort of architectural digest type space where they showcase their creations to their clients and how it would fit. Even down to the paneling you see on the wall was designed and painted by this team. Every time we visited a showroom that wasn't necessarily fashion connected, I made sure to remind myself, how does this influence fashion? How does this influence my design aesthetic? How is this a portion of our research? And it was just really interesting to delve into this. The showroom assistant showed us not only wallpaper panels, but also dishware and other really interesting pieces created by their designers. And now we're at the Manufacture de Gobelin, which is France's largest and most historical tapestry factory. We weren't allowed to record inside the workshops because the artisans were hard at work, but our lovely tour guide here did allow us to take a look and see what the artisans were working on. Some of their pieces are confidential. For example, if you saw the tapestry at the Olympics in France, that was created by these workmen. I think the program is really cool because they recruit artists straight out of school in France, and then they do a 3-year program here at the manufacturer where they learn how to create these delicate, intricate tapestries. It was just so interesting. I mean, some of their weaving machines took up the entire room. It was so cool. I'll let the tour guide tell you more.
All the workmen, yes, the people to work for Versailles, to do all the decoration for Versailles. So in fact, all the stuff, tapestries, furniture produced here, it was for the king. It was for Versailles. And still today. I mean, we don't have a king anymore in France, but all the tapestries made here are for the residents of the Republic, for Élysée, Matignon, for the ministry, prefecture, city hall, embassy, abroad. Even if one of you is a very rich guy, okay, we don't sell tapestries. Okay, I don't have the tour in the shop at the end of the tour. All the stuff produced here are for the mobilier national, the national furniture depository. But in fact, you need someone to have a link with all these workshops. That's why the first director was Charles Lebrun. Charles Lebrun, if you've been in Versailles, he was like the official painter of Louis XIV. He's the stage director of Versailles. So usually we imagine Lebrun working in Versailles. No, he spent his days here in this house, managing all the workshops we have here. And really this year.
Next, we visited Muse Carnavalet, which featured a really cool exhibit on dress through the 16th century to present day. This was a fully functioning jewelry shop that they placed here in the museum. After a long, exhausting week of studying abroad, museum hopping, and visiting showrooms and touring palaces, of course I needed a little self-care, so I found a nail salon in Paris that does what they call American style nails, or Olanger long nails. I was so excited because I hadn't had my nails done in months because of fashion school, and the customer service was excellent. They brought me tea. They had 2 ladies working on my hands. It was so sweet. And look at them. I'm in love. And after we did a bit of self-care, we did a little bit of retail therapy and went shopping at this really cool flea market called Marché Dauphine. I believe, from what I'm aware, it's the biggest flea market in France. That's what they say. I mean, that's what they all say, but this one was really cool. They had furniture, they had vinyls, they had handbags, they had everything. Stay tuned next week for my full shopping in Paris vlog. Thanks for watching.